I first got into food sovereignty because my grandmother, she lived off the land for 20 years with no running water or electricity. She would sit out in nature and she would see the signals. Like, she knew all the little messages that nature would send out to let us know when certain things are coming forth. And whenever I go out into nature, I can feel her there, and I just feel like a sense of peace. So this is the area typically where you will find beach peas in four dunes, sand dune area. Yeah, they prefer sandy soil and gravelly soil. They can withstand some heavier soils like clay, but they prefer areas where there is a lot of sand movement. You can find them all up along California, all the way up to Alaska, along coastlines. You can find them at the Great Lakes region though. So these here are the beach peas, all the purple flowers. That's one of the easiest ways to identify them. Their bloom will typically start in May until September. So they've got a really long bloom season. Once June sets in, that's when the pods start to form. And the pods, when they first start out, they're like a bright green, and then they eventually turn to a reddish green as they mature. But the stems are very red, and then as they go up, they get to a lighter green. The stems can have anywhere from 6 to 12 leaflets on them. The leaflets, as you can see, kind of have almost like a bluish tint to them. And underneath they are like a pale green. As you can see, the midrib right here, and that branches out into other nerve systems. And then the flowers come off of a stem as well, and they are stem off into anywhere from 3 to 12 florets. And the flowers eventually fall off and they will turn to pods. Flowers, when they first start out, like a bright pink purple, but as they mature, they turn to more of like a bluish purple. The flowers are edible. Another thing that you can identify on the plants as well is the leaf stipules, which are smaller leaves near the base of the stems. Right here, these are the leaf tendrils, these feelers right here. And those help to secure the plant, to help hold them in place because their root system is so poor. What makes them very noticeable in this setting is that the leaflets are alternating on the stems. Most peas do that. The leaves look like they're grabbing for the light too, which is what I really like, kind of winged up. When you are harvesting the flowers too, they're pretty easy to harvest. I tend to go for the younger ones since they'll have more flavor. And pretty much the whole plant tastes like a pea. Yeah, so it's pretty weird to be eating a flower and tastes like a pea. The flowers are a lot easier to remove than the young shoots. The stems of them just are more tender. So I'm not using two hands when I'm harvesting the flowers. So when you're picking young shoots, you generally you don't want any of the red to be on them. You want them to be all green. Like the really light green ones at the tip here are what you want. Whereas this one that's right down next to it, it feels a little woody on the stem, so I'm not going to pick that one. So you can tell the difference between the colors here. This one's a lot lighter green, whereas this one's like a bluish green. And there we are, and it comes off super easy. So I'm really going by feel here. Whatever feels like it's going to come off real easy is what I am harvesting. So here we are with the beach pea, and when you harvest them, you simply just pull them off the vines like that, and they should come right off. You can usually find them at the bottom. Taking that tip of where the pod connects to the stem, ripping that down, twisting the pea open to reveal the peas. That's mainly what you want to be doing to harvest the peas. If you're preserving these, you want to try to get as much of the moisture off of them as you can, and then if you're putting them in the refrigerator, you want to have them in a sealed container. You could even put a paper towel in there to help control the humidity in the container. And I'd say they'd store for, like most microgreens, up to a week. Instead of eating them fresh, you could saute them, use them in cooking as you would herbs. So kind of adding it more towards the end of a dish. Very resilient plant when it comes to reseeding itself. They can survive up to 5 years in the ocean and still be seeded. But the part of having a weak root system is what makes them susceptible to being encroached upon because of recreational use. So being mindful of where they grow is a part of the harvest. So you don't want to be walking up in the dunes here, harvesting them. You want to be on the outer edge, kind of like respecting their space.